Assalamu alaikum everybody. I am Yahya Iqbal and I'll be presenting my final project for my OOP subject. And this project is a recipe organizer application created using Windows Forms as my framework in C++. And I'll walk you through the implementation, explaining the methods for buttons, text boxes, and list boxes, and how everything is connected. So let's start with me showing you how the application actually works, and then we'll come to the backend code. So let me just run it for a second. Alright, there we have the application. So this is our first form, and now I'm going to click manage recipes here. So we have the box for title, ingredients, instructions. So let me add something as an example. Let's just add something simple like fruit salad, and for our ingredients let's just add apple, mango, banana, orange, green. And for our instructions, let's just say chop the fruits and mix them, add green and stir, serve with serve with spoon, serve with spoon, right? So this is where our instructions end. So let's add it. So we'll click this add recipe button, and there you have it. We have this recipe added. So when I'll click it, it will open another form, and there you have it. We'll have all the details displayed right here. So this is the title, these are the ingredients, and these are the instructions. So let's edit them. We also have a feature to edit the recipes in case we forget something, we forget to add something, or we want to change something. So let's edit this one. So I'll click it, and let's just add water here and serve with water and save it. Now when we have saved it, we open it again, and we'll see all the changes we made are saved. And similarly, like this, we can add more recipes and everything. So like just for example, let's like add egg fried, right? Something like that. Fried egg or egg fried, whatever. And we'll use egg as an ingredient, and then we'll fry egg and mash them, serve in plate. So we add it. There's another recipe. We click it. If we want to edit it, we can edit it. Right here we can just add, right, serve with orange juice, and then of course if you're serving it with orange juice, we have to add orange in our ingredients. There you have it. When we save it, let's click it again. There you go. We have orange added and serve with orange juice as an instruction. So that's how we can save our recipes, and we can manage them, add new recipes, edit them, view them to our recipe organizer application. So now let's see what the backend code is and how everything works, how these text boxes and buttons, how these implementations are working when we click on them. So of course we have added event handlers, and I'm going to discuss that code. So first of all, let's start with the first form, which we just saw, this one right here. So let's start with the basics, and I will tell you one by one what is going on. So private, of course, we know this is a indicates that the following method is private, can only be accessed within this class. And then this system void right here, this specifies that the method does not return any value. Then we have the name of the method, which is the button manages recipe, and it handles the click event for the manage recipes button. And after that we have the system object, and there's a sign, and then sender. This is a parameter actually that refers to the object that raised in the event. So in this case we have the button, right? And then the system events argument, this is a parameter that contains the event data. Now after that we create a new instance of MyForm1 right here, this one. So I've created a new instance of MyForm1 right here called the recipe form, and the GC new, this one right here, the GC new. This is a keyword used to allocate memory for managed objects in the C++. And then after that we use this keyword right here, show. So what this does is like it displays the line. This line displays the new form by calling the show method on the recipe form. This was for, or the button, the manage recipes button right here. This one, this button right here. So now we're just gonna, these methods are actually empty right now, they don't do anything, but if we want to, we can just edit them. And this is like the name of the method, and it handles the click event for the label, this one right here. And this one, myForm load, it handles the load event for the form, right? So next up we have the second form, which was this one, where we, right here, this one, where we added the title, the ingredients, and the instructions. And let's start with its event handlers from right here. So let's start with the first, um, let's start with the first one right here, dictionary, and what it's doing. And so this dictionary that maps the recipe titles, right? So it maps them into strings to their details. This is like so like their details are a tuple containing the ingredients and the instructions. And of course we know what the gc new keyword is right here. So this is used to allocate memory for managed objects, and here obviously it creates a new dictionary instance. Now we come on to the next method, which is the list box of the recipes. And of course this is a parameter. This checks, this is the name of the method, and it handles the selected index changed event for the list box. So whatever is changed in that selected index, this is the one that handles it. So we're going to come on the conditionals, and it checks if an item is selected in the list box. If it is, then it retrieves the selected special recipe. And now for the this if statement, so this checks if the dictionary contains that selected recipe. If it does, then it retrieves the details of that recipe, right? All right, so next up we have the recipe details form, and this one is just like it creates a new instance for the recipe details form with the selected recipe details. And once that is like done, we have this details form recipe updated, which subscribes to the recipe updated event. Now this if conditional right here, what it does is this shows the details form as a dialog and checks if the result is okay. If it is okay, it updates the dictionary with the new recipe details if the dialog result is okay. All right. So next up we have the button add recipe, which actually when we wrote all the ingredient instructions and titles, we click on this button to add the recipe. So let's check this out. Obviously this is the name of the method. This contains the event data, and let's start with the right. So let's start from right here. So what this does is this retrieves the text from the title box, and then this next one right here, the string ingredients, this retrieves the text from the ingredients text box, and then the string instructions, this retrieves the text from the instructions text box. Now for the conditionals of if right here, what this does is checks if all the fields are filled, and then this if right here, after it checks all the ingredients, well this checks if a recipe with the given title already exists in the dictionary. If any of this happens, like if the fields are not filled, if they're empty, it shows an error right there that the fields are empty. Or if there is a matching name in the list box, so it also shows an error that there's already a name, there's also already a recipe with the same name. So that's what these two things do. So if they check them, if both of these conditions are like true, the fields are all filled, and also the name in the list box does not matches the new name we have entered, what happens is this adds the new recipe to the dictionary and adds the new recipe title to the list box. After that, when it's added, it clears all the title, the ingredients, and instructions from the list box and is stored in the dictionary. And of course, these are the else statements, which I just told you. If they are unfilled or if it matches, then it's if matches with an already filled recipe title, it says that recipe with this title already exists. And if one of the fields is empty or if all of them are empty, it says fill in all the fields and error, right? So let's go with this method, which is the on recipe updated. So what this does is it handles the recipe updated event right here, this one. And this right here, recipe details form right here, this casts the sender object to the recipe details form. The string selected recipe right here we have, this retrieves the selected recipe's title. Now for the if statement, this checks if the dictionary contains the selected recipe. If it does, then it updates the dictionary with the new recipe details. And as for this one, this is currently empty, but what it does is that it handles the load event for the form. And that was our form 1. The second form, this one right here. And for our last form, this is the recipe details form. Let me just show you which one I'm talking about. This one. So where we displayed all the ingredients and title we uh, created, and here we can edit the title or ingredients or save them. So here we have it. So these are all the codes that are generated from Windows Forms when I was creating this form. So let's get to the event handlers right here. We'll start from right here. Alright, so let's look at them and see how it allows us to edit the details and save them. So first of all, we'll come with the button save click, right? So what it does is it handles the click event for the save button. So this just whenever I click it, the save button, after editing it, it will close the form, but it saves all this data that we have edited in the form. So now we have the button edit, right? So what this button does is that it handles the click event for the edited button. It handles the click event for the edit button. So when I click it, what it does is that in my third form right here, I've set all of these these text boxes to read-only mode. So user cannot edit them. But as soon as we click this edit button, the set only read mode is set to false. So we can then type and edit or anything we want in these 3 boxes. And then we can save them, and I've already told you how the save button works. It closes it and saves the edited things. Now when that is done, we come to the set controls read only, right? So this is the name of the method right here I'm talking about, set controls read only. So it sets the read only property of the text boxes. So as I was just discussing right now what the edit button does, right? So this sets the read only property of the title box, the read only property of the ingredients box, and the read only property of the instructions box. So as we want it, if you click the edit button, then it'll change it accordingly, right? So now we have the form on form closing right here, and the protected here right here means that the following method is protected and can be accessed within the class and the derived class only, right? So we used a virtual function right here. This overrides the on form closing method to add a custom behavior when the form is closing, right? And this right here, this calls the base class implementation on the form closing. Now for the if function, what it does is checks if the dialog result is okay. If it is, this triggers the recipe updated event before the form closes. That's what it does. And as for this one right here, what it does is this is like a event handler, and this declares an event named recipe updated of the type event handler. That's it. So now we've discussed all the 3 forms. Now let's come to the MyForm.cpp, which is actually the entry point of our application. This file contains the main function which initializes and runs the application. So let me just open that right here. So let me just tell you in detail what's going on. First of all, we add a header file for our first form, the main form MyForm1, and then we had the header file for our second form, which is the MyForm.h. And using namespace system, this line allows us to use the namespace system without fully qualifying its members. And then the using namespace system .windows or forms, this allows us to use the system namespace without fully qualifying its members. It's the same things, but the only difference is we use this with the Windows forms. Now this right here, the stat thread attribute. This attribute indicates that the CUM threading model for the application is a single threaded apartment. Now I come to our main function, like to our main body, the int main array. So this is the entry point of application. It takes an array of strings as arguments, And then from there, this application enable visual styles. This method enables visual styles for the application, and it makes the controls look modern. And as for this application, the set compatible text rendering default. This method sets the default text rendering engine to the GDI plus, which takes us to the next part, which is the recipe organizer. This creates an instance of the MyForm named MainForm right here. I've named it as the MainForm right here. And then as for application one, it starts the application and opens the main form, and our main form is this one. So as soon as it comes here, it opens this form right here. Wait a second, this one. So as soon as it comes here, it opens this form right here. And after that, that's where we start with our forms. First, we have the first form where we click and manage the recipes. Then we add them. Then we save them. And if we want to edit them, we can edit them. And that's how our application works. So that was it for or the recipe organizer application for the final project of my subject, and I hope you understood everything. I tried my best to make sure you guys understood everything. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.